Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luis Martinez. I'm the program manager of internships here at the Metropolitan Council, and I would like to welcome you to our first internship program information session. Today, with me helping me present, I have Susan Hang, who is our talent acquisition specialist from our Metro Transit division, as well as Giselle Ojeda Gomez, who is currently a talent acquisition specialist working for our internship program team. So we have a lot of fun stuff stored for you all today. So let's just go on the agenda here quick. So again, today's agenda, we'll talk about a little bit overview about who we are as the Metropolitan Council. For those of you that are not aware of who the council is, we're going to be going over the internship program. So eventually the internship program as well as the Urban Scholar, just discussing a lot of details about the programs. Then we have four awesome panelists that will be sharing their experience as a current and former interns. Then we'll jump into pretty much the application process to give you a quick demo on it. And then we'll jump into a Q&A session. So, for those questions that were submitted during the sign up, as well as any questions that are submitted on during the live session. So pretty much you can send your Q&A questions as we're going through the event. We'll do our best to answer as many as you can. Eventually, if we do get a lot of questions, we'll try to do our best to follow up with that communication via email. If there's any other questions you want to cover that you weren't able to ask during the session, or if you forgot about it after the session, you're more than welcome to email us at metc.state.mn.us. But first, I'm going to have my colleague Jeff Gutters explain to you a little bit more about our team's site or our team's software here.
Thanks, Luis. So today you're able to run this event on your side as an attendee. Live, pause, come back and replay, or slow it down if things are moving a little too quickly for you. You're able to adjust your volume on your computer to make it louder or quieter. You are also able to turn on live captions and select a subtitle language, and then ask questions using the Q&A on the right side of the screen. You can find these settings on the bottom left for the playback and on the bottom right for screen size and captions. Next slide. So captions and subtitles, when you click on the cog on the bottom right side, this is where you can select your language and the size of the text, as well as add additional accessibility features for background for contrast. And then next slide. So if you are having audio or video issues on this event, please try to exit and rejoin. You can also join through a web browser on Chrome or Edge. They are the best browsers for Teams live events. So I hope you enjoyed the event today. Thank you. And I'll pass it back to Luis.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. So up next, I have Susan Han, who will be talking a little bit more about the Metropolitan Council.
All right, well, thank you so much. And first off, I just want to say welcome to the Metropolitan Council. And again, Elizabeth, I'm Susan Hang. I work in the HR department. And in the next couple of slides, I'll give you all a introduction to MetCouncil if you're not familiar, or for some folks who are familiar with us, just kind of an overview of who MetCouncil is. And so MetCouncil is a regional policy-making body, planning agency, and provider of essential services for the Twin City metropolitan region. And we do the service, we partner with community organizations, the communities, local government, businesses, and so forth in order to do the work that we do. Part of the Met Council, we have 5 divisions, that being the community development, environmental services, metro transit, metropolitan transportation services, and regional administration. And MetCouncil is led and guided by a 17-member policymaking board, which includes a MetCouncil chair, and our current chair is Charles Zelli. So we have a 17-member member board that provides guidance for us for the 7 metropolitan counties, which includes Anoka, Hennepin, Washington, Ramsey, Dakota, Carver, and Scott County. Next slide, please. And what do we do? What's our mission? Well, our mission is to foster an efficient and economic growth for a prosperous region. So some of the planning or essential services include operating the Metro Transit services or public transportation for the Twin City region or area, and a strategic investment in growing networks of bus, rail, transit, way, and the transit-oriented development. We also collect and treat the water waste for over 90% of the region's population, and that is led by our Environmental Services Department. And then we also plan and fund the regional parks and trails system, assist households with low and moderate income to find and stay in an affordable rental housing options, and that is led by our Community Development Department or division. We do a number of other great things for the region and for services and programs and so forth. And I would encourage all of you, if you have not, to check our website. It's a METROCOUNCIL.org. On there, you're able to find, if you are interested in our governments, our history, we have that on the website, as well as awards that we won in services and programs and so forth. So with that, I will hand this back to Louise, and I just want to thank you and hope you enjoy the rest of the information session. Okay, Louise.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. So yeah, now that we hear a little bit more about what the MetCouncil does, all the partnerships that we have throughout the region, all the things that the council supports and works with all the municipalities. Now I want to share you the great opportunity that we have here, which is eventually showcasing the internship program. So every year we hire anywhere between 50 to 80 interns. Eventually, last couple of years, or I want to say maybe last year, was a little bit of a difficulty trying to make that the move from being able to do an office all the way to the current virtual setting that we're getting ourselves exposed to. So that being said, this year we have a total of about 43 internships that we're going to be hiring for this year. Both internship programs, which I'll jump in here in details a little bit more, will begin on June 1st. So we're eventually preparing. We are accepting applications all the way to, I believe, the 26th, which I'm not mistaken is going to be on Friday. So yeah, Friday at 11:59 p.m. So make sure you get those applications in on time. Make sure you spend enough time on those applications, and eventually Giselle will be covering a few things about the application process. So yeah, the Metropolitan Council internships is actually one of the best things that I'm so proud of working every single year. One of the things that we are very, very supportive is the fact the hiring managers expose interns to true entry-level work, where you get a lot of exposure through their experiences, through managers mentoring, and making sure that you as an intern are able to acquire the necessary experience to make sure that you're continuing your professional development. Pretty much the MetCouncil internships have full-time during the summer, and sometimes a lot of these positions can be extended on a part-time during the school year. And again, helping to accommodate your schooling needs. Sometimes we have college students that are working on a 15, 20 to up to 25, 30 hours a week. Again, making sure that student is balancing correctly with their schooling as well as the job. All internship opportunities with the MetCouncil are paid at $18.50 an hour. So it's somewhat very competitive around our region. So we're very proud to say that. and hopefully gives you a little bit of help during your needs, mostly during around this time with COVID. So again, MetCouncil internships are very robust internships, provide a lot of experience. Now you're probably wondering, okay, what is the Urban Scholars Program? So the Urban Scholars Program is a leadership development program that is designed to go on a full-time basis during the summer for 12 weeks. Pretty much the program goes from June 1st to August 20th for this summer. And eventually, this program welcomes students from diverse racial and ethical backgrounds, as well as any students that are within the low socioeconomical background. The cool part about this program is that, again, it's a full time, but 32 hours out of the week, which is usually 4 out of the 5 days out of the week, you're eventually spending it with your internship opportunity. But on that last day or that 8 hours a week, you actually spend your time on a cohort doing all the leadership training, professional development. You get to do a lot of public speaking practices. You get exposed to leaders within the organization as well as other leaders within the region, making sure that you can get exposure, you can hear stories, you can hear all great things about what the Twin Cities is doing to be able to make it more prosperous for our community here. So this is an excellent program. We've had a great success with the Urban Scholars Program. So I've been at the council for, I want to say, almost a little over 6 years, and I've seen so many interns come through the program and now are professionals eventually leading a lot of their areas. So it's very exciting to see. So hopefully you will be one of them to apply through the program, and hopefully we'll be able to see you in this next summer. That being said, I'm going to be moving next to our panelist. So pretty much we're actually being visited by an awesome group of current and former interns that will be able to tell us a little bit about their experience during the programs here at the Met Council. So with me, I have Makthi, who is currently an informational service intern within our regional administration division. I also have Henry McCarthy, who is currently environmental scientist in our environmental services former intern. Rolando Larkins, who is currently a Housing and Redevelopment Authority coordinator working in our community development division, again, former intern, and Mr. Cameron Bailey, senior planner in our community development, who is a former urban scholar. So I would like to welcome the four of you. So we're probably going to go in the order that I presented. So Mahdi, I will put you up first. Welcome.
Thank you, Luis. Hello, everyone. My name is Mahdi Rahmani, and I am currently interning with the Information Services under the Data Management team and with the Regional Administration Division. I graduated with the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Augsburg University, and my goal was to intern or work in public services where I can help the community that I live in. So I found MetCouncil to be the right place for me. So actually my work is impacting many people in actual and real life. So as an example, I have worked with Metro Transit colleagues to provide technical solutions so that our business users or customers can make data-driven decisions. So the result is that we see the buses or our buses are running effectively. And during my internship, I have had mentors who have helped me to get familiar or navigate my way around the council. So these mentorships involve many areas, from getting familiar with the council's systems to getting introduced to other colleagues around the council, so that it eases the way to work with other colleagues. And I find this mentorship for mentors very helpful, as it can be challenging when you're a college student and entering the professional world. So it's very thumbs up for me. In my first few weeks when I started at the council, I was more focused on training and intensive trainings. the trainings were online and also working with the mentors. So where at the beginning I was assigned to simpler projects so that I can get up to speed and learn the tools and platforms that we use at the council. However, as time passed, I have been working on more advanced and difficult projects with different teams. So, and also as an intern, as I mentioned that I had online trainings, so you will be able to access many courses online where you can improve your skills technically or your soft skills. So that's a good thing. And also my team has been very helpful to introduce me to different meetups that is happening around the Twin Cities. So which helps me to network with other professionals in the field that I'm working in. And as far as the accessibility with my manager and also mentor, I have weekly meetings with my mentor and also bi-weekly meetings with my manager so that I can give them updates on my projects and also if I have questions so that I can resolve the questions. I mean, of course, I have daily conversation or emails back and forth, and they are pretty accessible for me. And I would end with an maybe friendly advice. So I think there are many internships out there. So my advice would be maybe focus more on like where is the best fit for you, so that you can enjoy the experience and also learn new things. And moreover, I would say the council is a very welcoming and caring place, so that they want to help you in your career. So thank you. Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Mahdi. So our next panelist, we're having a little feedback here. There we go. So our next panelist will be Henry McCarthy.
Thanks, Luis. Hi, everybody. My name is Henry McCarthy. I went to school at McAllister College. I studied geography as well as environmental studies and data science. And I was a water supply planning intern with the water supply planning group within environmental services from about May of 2019 through May of 2020. And I was recently hired on about 6 months ago as an environmental scientist with the same group. I really enjoyed being able to sort of catch back up with my coworkers and join a group who I already got along with really well and enjoyed. As an intern, I was responsible for doing a lot of geographic information systems, GIS work, which was a lot of what I did in college, as well as just learning a lot more about water supply planning. I came in with a decent amount of experience working in various environmental internships and volunteer type things, but coming into the council, I didn't have too much experience with water supply planning. So one thing that I really took from my internship was just a lot of contextual knowledge that came from attending meetings with both internal staff, with stakeholders. The council is a really interesting position when it comes to water supply planning. All of the communities across the metro, many of them are responsible for their own water supplies, and so the council water supply planning unit serves as a place to offer technical guidance to those communities on how to best manage their water supply. So a lot of what I was doing as an intern was looking at water demand, looking at interconnections between communities, how communities plan for water now and in the future. And yeah, I really took a lot from the internship, and because of that, I was able to apply to a job in the same unit and fortunately enough, be hired on. I think I really was drawn to the council, partially from friends who had also applied to internships in the past. I think a lot of people in the geography department that I was in at McAllister were often applying to council internships. And so really I thought, I might as well apply because that's what everyone does. But, when I came in for interviews and, read up more on the position, it was a lot more exciting, and I felt really driven to come to work here, and here I am now in a full-time position, and yeah, really enjoy it. Thanks.
Thank you, Henry. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing. So up next, we have Drolandra Larkins that will be sharing her experience as an intern.
Hi, y'all. My name is Drolandra Larkins, and I graduated from Augsburg University with a bachelor's in social work. And my first internship at the council was back in 2017. And I interned from June to October as an outreach coordinator, and I worked in the environmental services division. And my role there was to target underrepresented populations and encourage them to apply to careers at the council and to increase our workforce diversity. So similar to what we're doing now. So I would attend career fairs and events and host job shadowing for youth. I did a second internship, and that was in 2018, where I interned for the summer and then was offered an extension for the year. So I worked there as a housing assistant in the Housing and Redevelopment Authority department within the Community Development Division. And so my role there was to conduct yard inspections for our council-owned units and to assist families in our family affordable housing program. Now I'm a full-time employee working as a housing specialist in the Housing and Redevelopment Authority Department, where I assist a total of 400 single families and adults in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And I help them with the move process, assess their eligibility in the program, and provide educational outreach to property owners and manager about the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And I've worked in this role for about 6 months. And one of the reasons I chose to intern and work at the council was because I knew I wanted to eventually go into policy practice as a social worker. And I knew that I wanted to work at a government institution because serving the public is my passion. And the council checked both of those boxes for me. So I also knew that I would hold many different interests: public policy, workforce planning, community outreach. And I wanted to get all of that experience in one internship. And the council is a huge organization. So I knew there would be many opportunities for me to collaborate with other departments outside of my internship, work with another team. And so if you have that interest, you can do that at the council. And one of the benefits for working at the council is that you can get your hands in many different projects, again, outside of your internship task, if that's an interest for you. So I like the idea of having different or diverse work options to further build my resume. And then lastly, the council is a government institution. We're not as diverse as we could be, and diversity is huge for me. I wanted to work somewhere where I felt welcome and I felt respected as a woman of color. And although our workforce is not as diverse, I fell in love with the council's Strive 2020 equity initiative, which is our commitment to diversity and equity. And I wanted to be part of that initiative and work for an organization that valued it as much as I did.
Thank you so much, Drolandra, for sharing your experience as an intern, eventually your passion that you have of working at the Metropolitan Council. So I greatly appreciate it. Up next, I have Cameron Bailey, who's a senior planner for Community Development Department. Cameron?
Yeah, thanks, Luis. Is my audio good? Coming through fine?
You sound excellent.
Beautiful, good stuff. That's a tough first set of 3 folk to follow up, so I'll try to remove any redundancies in my kind of report out. So, afternoon, y'all. Cameron Bailey. I graduated with my bachelor's in civil engineering from Rutgers, which is out in Jersey, and then actually moved to Minnesota for grad school at the University of Minnesota in the planning program after working for a few years between my bachelor's. I interned at the council as an urban scholar intern from the summer of 2015 through the spring of 2016 as a graduate student. And I started in the arterial bus rapid transits department within the Metro Transit Division. And then I finished up my internship after the summer with the Metropolitan Transportation Services Group, which is more closely aligned with a community development division. My tasks as an intern included really a lot of like scheduling and facilitating, as well as convening meetings It was great for getting me exposure to different council members, committee chairs, different advisory councils and committees at different cities and counties and state agencies. So really giving me an entry point into the landscape of local and regional governance, which was really cool. I mean, that's how I got to meet Mayor Hodges at the time, which for me was just wild that I would had any business be in the same room as mayors and county commissioners. So internship gave me opportunity to be in those spaces and hear those conversations. And then in terms of the doing, I was supported in drafting and administering surveys to inform station area planning for the D line, one of our arterial bus rapid transit routes. Also got to compile and analyze a lot of data and develop different ways of visualizing the data, to help data tell a story. And as a part of that, storytelling and building narrative, also being entrusted with drafting and finalizing even reports on the research projects I did around the C line extension of that route, as well as the D line and even some work on the C line. So pretty transit heavy, but as Drolanja spoke to and many others did as well, really got to learn a lot about how policy at various levels, as well as relationships between people, really drive impacts across our region. So where I am today, I'm a full-time employee here now, as Luis said, working as a senior planner in the local planning assistance department. So I work as a planner, and in the community development division, where at a high level, I really work on, I think, climate resilience, environmental justice, and natural resource planning. And for natural resource planning, building out a bit more broadly than what Henry does. So not as deeply couched in water and water resource planning, but a bit more wide. So thinking solar energy technical assistance, renewable energy, wetlands and green roofs and green infrastructure. So kind of broad. One of the reasons I chose to intern or work at the council in the first place as being a student and a resident of the region who's not from here was as I learned more about the landscape of planning in the region in Minnesota, I just saw that the council did so much in the region across parks and trails and wastewater and transit and transportation and grant making and affordable housing and workforce development and forecasting, just so many things. I was like, all right, the council does a lot in the region. Thus, it influences a lot in the region. And I wanted to better understand how the council currently went about doing those things, so I could learn for myself if there was indeed a place that I could, I believe that what I felt like I had to offer and could bring could be received at the council. And then additionally, the council carries a lot of clout within the Minnesota planning community. So I also wanted to, meet the people that were drawing such a broad reputation from the planning field, really get a sense of what's what. And then on the back end, about the Urban Scholars Program specifically, even though I went into the program at 26 years old and a graduate student, I think what drew me to it is what still draws a lot of folk, and it was because for me it's a cohort-based learning program where it's really taken for me a more holistic approach to professional development and networking, and really aligning those things with like your personal leadership skills, what your personal values and priorities are, and how your professional job and lifestyle really supports who you are as a person. And for me, not being from here, it was a great way to also meet, honestly, a bunch of other Black and Brown folk who are interested in public service and serving community. So I could have the personal network of people who look like me and came from similar contexts. So I could be grounded and supported and showing up at work every day.
Thank you so much, Cameron, for sharing your experience, eventually the work that you're doing now, and again, your passion. So again, I want to say thank you to all my panelists that volunteered to share their time today, to share a little bit of their experience. So greatly appreciated. So again, for the audience, if you have any questions, again, you're more than welcome to submit those through the Q&A. If you have maybe even a question for the panelists, panelists will be hanging out all the way to the end of the presentation. So if there's a question that we can maybe throw to the panelists, we'll be able to do that as well. So. Up next, let's see here. We're going to be talking about the application process. So I will have Giselle Ojeda Gomez be able to provide you with a quick application process presentation for you here.
Hi, is my sound good?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. As Luis mentioned, my name is Giselle. I'll be talking a little bit about our application process. So first and foremost, we only accept applications through our MetCouncil job board, which I'll be walking through in a couple minutes. So we don't accept any applications through Handshake, Indeed, Glassdoor, or any other external job board. So we are an application-heavy organization, which basically means that your resume is important, but the supplemental questions that are asked on each individual internship application hold a heavier weight in the review process. So make sure to not only attach important documentation such as transcripts, resumes, and if you'd like also recommendations, but also put 110% effort into the supplemental questions on the application, especially for the Urban Scholar program. Competitive applicants have well thought out responses to all the questions that are asked. Some internships are very competitive, so make sure to take your time with your application. So I know I mentioned recommendation letters. They're not required, but you can go ahead and submit some if you'd like. They can either be from a coworker, a manager, a professor, anyone who you can think of who you would like to give your recommendation. So in terms of timeline, we will start reviewing applications on March 1st. Our whole process takes about 2 months, including the manager review and interviews as well. So anyone who is accepted to an internship will get an official offer letter by the end of April. And right now we have the start date set for all the internships on June 1st. So that will be orientation day. So now, Luis, would you like me to share my screen to navigate the site? Would that be easier?
If you can, that would be great.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Okay. So this is the home site for the MetCouncil employment. So what you're going to do is up here on the top, you're going to see it says internships. You're going to click on that. Here's our homepage for our internship program. So here will be any important updates, signing up for email alerts. Down here, you'll have our description of both our programs. Our eligibility requirements are right at the bottom, and then right under it, you'll see a big red arrow. And this is our internship job board. So there's 43 of them, so that can be a lot to sift through. So what you can do is you can go over to filter, job category, and you can filter them by any specific ones that you're interested. So let's say, for example, you're an accounting and finance major. Click on accounting and finance, and it'll filter all the ones that are specific to those disciplines. And you can kind of mix and match whichever ones you'd like. So I'll use this. So the ADA and title internship as an example. Right at the top, you're going to have a quick description of what the internship will entail. Right under it, you're going to have the internship length. So this one is specified to be 1 year long. The start date, almost all of them are going to say telework with potential to be on site, just because a lot of managers want to hold off and see what the situation is going to be like in the summer due to COVID. But most internships do have the potential to be telework or hybrid, depending on the nature of the internship. If any will be on site, it will specifically say on the internship description, it will be on site. Again, this internship is intended to be about 1 year long. So the candidate will need to be able to work about 40 hours full-time during the summer and 20 hours part-time during the school year.
Under that, you'll have a bunch of extra information about the MetCouncil. Right under it, you'll have some more specific tasks about what the internship will entail. Minimum qualifications. So here, just make sure to pay close attention to what the degree program is. So this one says Association Bachelor. So this internship in specific is targeted toward undergraduate students and associates. If it says master's, it's intended for master's students. So just make sure you're careful to read what the desired program is for each of these internships. Then we have desired qualifications. So this is more like basic knowledge that would be nice for you to have, but again, they're internships, so it's a learning opportunity. So if you don't necessarily have the desired qualifications, but you're interested in the opportunity, feel free to apply. Again, they're just desired qualifications. They're not required qualifications. And then right under it, you'll have degree program area that is preferred. Again, it's preferred. So if it's not specifically on the list what your major is, again, if it has somewhat to do with somewhat related to the other ones, go ahead and apply. It's not limited to just these specific majors. And also, if we go up to the top, we can click on questions, and you're able to see exactly what questions will be asked in the application. So if you scroll down, I know we talked about supplemental questions before. So again, how do you see this internship making a positive career, impact on your career? What have you done to further your knowledge on diversity and inclusion? What is your understanding of the ADA and Title V? So again, make sure you put enough time into these questions that it shows, how much knowledge and understanding you have, and also to show that you're very interested in it. The most competitive applicants, again, have very thorough and very descriptive and detailed answers to these questions. So again, just to make sure to take your time with these. Then I'm going to be clicking on the Urban Scholars. So we have all the Urban Scholar positions grouped into one posting. So if you click on it and you scroll down, you'll see that these are all the positions that we have for Urban Scholars. So if you're interested in, for example, let's see, the Programming and Database Intern, if you click on it, it'll take you to a different site and you'll be able to see the specific description for that internship. And then we'll go back. And then again, you can click on the questions and kind of get a head start on those specific questions before you even start the application. One thing with the Urban Scholar application that I do want to note is that you will see is that there is a minimum word count for these questions. So make sure you're meeting the word count, and then also make sure that you're answering the questions to that specific position, Urban Scholar position that you're interested in. So again, the applications close this Friday. So again, make sure you take your time with this. It can be a little lengthy if you want to have a good answer. So just make sure you have all your application complete with the documentation such as transcript and resume, and make sure your answers are thorough as possible to be a competitive candidate. And Luis, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Giselle. Thank you for jumping us in with all of the great advice and tips on the application. So that being said, let me share here the presentation. 1 second. All right, so it is time for some Q&A. So we're hoping to eventually go through some of the questions that you all submitted through the sign up. As a matter of fact, I'll go through some of the ones that I have here, and eventually we're going to go through the Q&A that you have submitted during the event. And again, we'll try to do our best to answer a lot of these questions as we're jumping into a Q&A. One of the things I did forget to mention right away is just want to let you know that eventually the session is recorded. So, and we're going to be uploading the session into our internship landing site for those of you that may want to just review maybe the presentation or even share with a friend in case, or someone that might be interested into the internship program. So let's see. So one of the questions that came in through our sign up, eventually they ask if we're still under heavy COVID restriction, how will the internships look like? And pretty much at this point, we are currently trying to do somewhat of a hybrid for some of the positions. I mean, most of the internships are going to be in a virtual setting. Pretty much once, you as an intern get an offer letter, we eventually begin to coordinate all of the necessary equipment for you to have. To make sure that you're all set up for eventually your first work day within your department. There are some areas within the council that actually still ask to come into the office. Sometimes it can be on a hybrid basis where it could be, a few days on an office setting. Other ones can be on a virtual, and again, the council does follow all the CDC guidelines to make sure that all of the employees within the council are following appropriate guidelines and safety measurements to make sure that we're all being kept safe within our work environment. So the other question that I have here is, will housing accommodation be provided? Fortunately, the Metropolitan Council does not provide any kind of housing or accommodation. So pretty much the internship program is designed for our community. Within our community, we have had international students, so international students that are residing during their schooling here at the Twin Cities are also welcome to apply within that time. Also had a question about PSEO, students eligibility. At this point, we're not accepting students under the PSEO program. We're currently maybe considering in future years to see if we can possibly accommodate students under that program, but at this point, we're accepting anyone that's currently on a second degree program that have graduated from their high school diploma. And one of the other questions that I have here is how many interns or number of interns that have gotten a full-time position. So eventually being in the public sector, it is very difficult to gauge in regards to how many positions can be hired. We have had as many as 10, 15 within a year, and we have had as low as 1 or 2 within a year. It all depends eventually on the need, but the way that I see it and the way that we usually share the experience with everyone is that it's actually, the experience that you're getting within the internship. Again, based on a lot of the information, a lot of experiences that our panelists were able to share, they get real experience with real projects and, based on real needs that we have in our area. So a lot of the stuff that you'll be getting will make you very marketable with any other organization. One of the things about the MetCouncil is that we're actually well known within other organization within the public area as well. So, someone saying, oh, I did my internship within the Metropolitan Council, people are going to know right away, oh yeah, that's a good internship. So there's, like Cameron said, there's a little bit of clout in a couple different areas within the council, mostly in the public sector. So again, having this opportunity, it can be very, very, it will allow your professional development to grow even more. Giselle, do you have any questions that you may have wanted to cover from the sign-up sheet at this point? I know that you cover some of the stuff during the presentation, or any questions that may have come out through the Q&A that we'll be able to highlight.
Yeah, for sure. So give me a sec. I just saw one. Okay, a question came up. Can I apply if I am a high school senior who will be attending a college in the fall?
Let's see, can I apply? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yep. Can I apply if I am a high school senior who will be attending college in the fall?
So again, as long as you have graduated and you can tell us that you are eventually enrolling into a second degree, school, I say go for it. Eventually. The supplemental question is going to ask a little bit about any classes you may have taken. So make sure to add any detail that will be able to fit that question. So.
Okay, and there's actually a question here for the panelists.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most challenging thing to adapt to during your internship?
Great question. Okay. Any and from the panelists, members might want to answer that one.
I can just hop in on that one.
Cameron?
Yeah, the for me, there's so many different cultures for language in terms of how people talk about problems and solutions and use all these words like frameworks and paradigms. And like, yeah, for me, there's a real like language barrier in terms of like the jargon that's used and what people imply by that, as well as underlying assumptions about what is and isn't feasible. And there's so much institutional knowledge people already hold about what was tried 5, 10 years ago, why it did or didn't succeed. And then, every work environment is different, even across the council. Like if I were to go to the division that's on the same floor as me in the office and work there, it would also be an adjustment because, like people exist in communities, even in professional environments. So kind of learning the flow of how people communicate, how you move projects forward, how you propose them, how to communicate with people in a way that they can really understand you. So a lot of, yeah, I mean, that was the most difficult part for me is like what's actually the right way to talk with folks so that they can actually understand me and I can actually understand them.
Thank you, Cameron.
If I can add on to that, I think for me, one of the biggest challenges was not knowing my strengths or what my weaknesses were. As far as my skill set, because I think that resulted in me having a lack of professional confidence. And I think internships at the council challenges you in a way that they push you outside your comfort zone, because you get assigned these big tasks that you think are impossible to complete. And you'll find yourself doubting your abilities, but you will get the job done and you will have support. So for me, I think my internship at the council helped me to understand what I was good at and what I was not good at. And it showed me where my skill set was most valuable. And I think the other thing is just going into the workforce after college can be really scary. You're a rookie in a workforce full of experts who's been doing their job for years. And at the council, you're surrounded with experts time 10. Like, you're working around council members, you're working around division directors, senior planners like Cameron, and that's intimidating. But because I had that experience as an intern working around these experts and getting assigned challenging work tasks, learning to multitask, learning to become a problem solver, learning to become a critical thinker, because I got that experience as an intern, it really helped build my confidence as a professional. Because I was able to say, you know what, I have worked around the community development director. I have worked around a senior planner. I've sat on the equity change team and helped develop initiatives for diversity. So having those experiences that challenges you help to build your confidence as a professional. And because of that, I was more self-aware going into the workforce than my peers and who didn't have that experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rolanda. All right. Giselle, you might have any other questions that may have come up through the feed?
Yes. Sorry, I'm late. Okay, how do vacation hours work during the summer for the internship program?
That's a good question. So I will definitely clarify eventually. You can set up some time off. Unfortunately, interns do not have access to paid time off. But eventually, if your internship opportunity does get extended beyond the summer, you'll be eligible for all of the holidays that we have available, except the floating holidays. Let's see. Susan or Giselle, I don't know how many holidays we usually have within the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, is about 10 or 11. I'm trying to recall here out of memory here. But usually, yeah. I'm sorry, Giselle?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I guess I can recall, but yeah, pretty much after you pass your summertime, the first holiday that usual interns will be eligible will be Labor Day. So great question.
see, let's take one more. How do you measure success in your internship positions?
Ooh, that's a pretty heavy question. Pretty much one of the things that for you is eventually feeling the pride of making sure you're learning through the internship program. Again, a lot of the challenges, like Cameron and Jolanda were saying, was actually just trying to make sure that you feel confident enough that you're going to get a project done. Again, a lot of our interns do get that little quick shock at the beginning where they're expected to do certain things that you might seem maybe not experienced enough, not capable enough. But no, with the training, the support, by the end of the summer or even at the end of your year-long internship, you will know that your internship, that you have learned so much from this internship, you will know how successful it will be. And one of the things that I usually tell all interns as we're jumping into the summer is keep a portfolio of all the work that you have done, of any projects, any assignment, so at the end of that summer, at the end of that year, you'll be able to see all the stuff that you have accomplished, and you will know at that point how successful your internship opportunity was for you.
Okay.
Great question.
Yep, let's take one last one. Okay, for the Urban Scholar internship, is it open to accepting students from Canada?
Good question. Pretty much, if you are eventually taking any classes within, the states or even within the Twin Cities, as long as you're able to provide the work permit, and it could be something through the school, or as long as you're able to provide the information that we need to be able to comply with our I-9 guidelines, yes, we can eventually hire interns from outside the country as well.
That's a wrap for the questions.
Sounds good. If there is any last minute questions, again, we will do our best to get back to you. We'll probably send you an email directly to you. Or again, if you forgot, maybe you thought about the questions just after the presentation, again, you're more than welcome to send us an email. As a matter of fact, let me share my presentation here. So yeah, you can send us an email at internships@metc.state.mn.us. Any additional questions? Again, reminder that we're accepting applications through Friday, February 26th till 11:59 p.m. So make sure you get that on time. And again, for more information, please visit metcouncil.org/internships to learn more about the internship program, as well as general information on how to complete your application. So yeah, this eventually concludes our information session about the internships. We hope that you enjoy your time. We hope that you enjoyed the presentation and learned a little bit more about our internship program, as well as the organization. We're hoping to see your application in the next few days, and we're pretty excited to start the process for our internship program for the summer, for this summer of 2021. Again, thank you so much, audience, for attending, and as well as our presenters and panelists that shared their time today to give you a little information about the Metropolitan Council. Thank you so much. Have a great day.